Hello, dog lover. My name is Saro. I'm a dog trainer, also coach dog owners. In this live video, I'm going to talk about vet bills, and I'm going to share with you some tips. Plus, I'm going to share my own number one tip about how to save money when it comes to your vet bills and your dog and everything that you're spending to take care of your dog's vet bills. I'm going to share all my number one tip. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, and also I'm going to answer your questions. Welcome. My name is Saro. I'm a dog trainer, also coach dog owners. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you want to become an educated dog lover and have a healthy and happy, well-behaved dog, consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell icon as well, so you will get notified as soon as I go live or I post any new videos. In this live video, I want to explain to you and answer this common question, because many of my viewers, many of my clients also, they ask me, how do I save money on vet bills? I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to share with you some tips and some ideas, but also I'm going to share with you my number one tip that is going to save you a lot of money on vet bills. So annually, just think about it. How much money are you spending on your vet bills? I'm assuming every time you go to a vet clinic to visit the vet, you're spending at least $80 to $100 a session. Each time that you go, $100 plus. Let's say you visit the vet 3, 4, 5 times a year. That's $500 a year. Some dogs tend to be more costly, so you have to spend more money on them. And I'll explain how to save money on those kinds of situations as well. But in general, I want you to understand that you are probably spending a lot of money when it comes to vet bills. If you are one of them, I would love to hear how much do you usually spend annually on vet bills. If you could leave the answer in the chat area, that would be great. By the way, if you have any questions, leave those questions in the chat area. I will answer them. Any dog related questions, go ahead and ask me those questions and I'll answer them. First part, I'm going to talk about the vet bills and how to save money on that, and then I'm going to start answering your questions. So if you have any questions, leave those in the comments area, in the chat area, and I'll answer them. And my first question to you is, how much do you spend annually when it comes to your vet bills? Let me know in the chat area. So in general, what I want you to realize and understand is that vets or vet visit shouldn't be something that you are going on a regular basis. Vets are a place where you visit only in emergency cases. If something is really going wrong with your dog, you should visit the vet. You shouldn't visit the vet just for nothing. The only reason you're visiting the vet is emergency cases and your dog's annual checkup. That's the only time that you should be, and normally a healthy dog would require, just for annual checkup, that you go and check your dog's health with the vet. You have do the blood test or all kinds of tests, ask your concerns and questions to the vet, find out how it is going with your dog's health, talk about those. That's the only time that you're visiting the vet. So once a year, you're just visiting the vet to check and talk about it. The other situation that it could be that you're visiting the vet could be because your dog has happened something really bad to your dog and it's dangerous, it's a matter of life and death. then you visit the vet. So that would be number one tip that I would, not number one, but number fourth. I think number five tip is you should only visit the vet for emergency cases or for checkup. So that will bring your cost down if you just focus on that. The other thing is that the problem with vet clinics, from my experiences, has been that most vets are not educated enough to be, giving you everything that you need to know when it's related to your dog's health and behavioral issues, including behavioral issues. They have learned and been educated about dogs and animals and the anatomy of animals and dogs, the overall of it. They kind of know how the dog's body work, and basically they are just there to take care of the damages or the parts in case of emergency. They don't really know much about dogs' behavior, dog diet, dog health in general. Overall, you can't really expect your vet to know everything about your dog. So basically, third tip is that you have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself about dogs, about how dogs live, how dogs need, what dogs need, how dogs deal with health issues and situations like that. So go ahead and learn about your dog, about your breed, your dog's breed, your dog's health in general, about dog's diet, about dog's care and behavior. You have to learn these things. As a responsible dog owner, you need to learn these things. And in this day and age, there are many options available, many avenues, the way that you can learn about dogs. So what I want you to do is, for example, watch my videos. I have a channel and I have tons of videos in there, so you can go ahead and watch those and learn about your dog. So go ahead and learn about dogs. So for example, if you watch my channel, I talk about dogs' health, dogs' diet, dogs' care, dogs' behavior, dog training, all kinds of things, kinds of topics. So it's your responsibility to learn. As a professional, my responsibility is to share this information with you and give you this information. As a dog owner yourself, your responsibility is to learn those information, get those information. Now, as I said, in this day and age, we have tons of ways of learning and getting our information, but you have to narrow it down to one or two choices rather than getting tons of information. Because what happens when you get a lot of information, you get confused and you get stressed. You don't know what to do anyways, and then you depend on your vet. And as I said, the vets, they don't have enough information themselves about everything of dogs. Each individual vet is different than other, so each vet, they have limited information about certain things, right? So for example, if something is going wrong with your dog, what I want you to do is just go and ask at least 3 vets their opinion about the situation that is happening to your dog when it's coming down to your dog's health, serious issue that your dog has. I want you to go and ask at least talk to 3 vets at least to get their opinion, because each vet, as I said, it's a very specialized in one thing. They don't know everything about everything that has to do with dogs. So everybody gives you a limited information when it comes to that certain thing that you're dealing with your dog. So it's good to have three opinions. And when it comes to educating yourself about dogs and your dog's health and behavior and all that, limit yourself again to three sources, not more than that. So you can choose, for example, my channel and two other channels or two other outlets of dog related information, and get those information and see which one makes sense the most to you. Most dog owners, the fact is that basically they don't know the basics of it, you know. So you have to have some base about dogs and then start adding information to that base. So for example, when it comes to diet, right, even in human diet, in this day and age, we have hundreds of diets that they're out there. But if you start researching about diet and which one to pick, you know, you're going to get confused. I'm confused in this day and age. Which diet should you choose? You know, vegetarian, vegan, paleo, keto, all kinds of diets are out there. So which one do you pick? It is very confusing when it comes to certain things. So it's your job and it's your duty to do the research and narrow it down to certain forms of information and pick those and start getting those information from those sources and educate yourself and start implementing those guidelines and information in your life and in your dog's life. So it's very important to do your part, take some time, educate yourself about dogs, you know, your dog's breed. If you have a breed or a mixed breed, figure out and educate yourself about your dog's breed. What are the characteristics of your dog's breed? Educate yourself about dog's health. You know, how do you keep a dog healthy in general? You know what I mean? So learn all those. Learn about dog's diet. Dog's diet is different than human diet. This is one thing that I really emphasize on my channel. You have to understand that dogs, they eat different food than humans. Humans can have choices when it comes to diet. For instance, we can choose paleo, we can choose vegetarian, we can choose vegan, we can choose all plant-based. We can choose all kinds of diets, and we can test them and go through them and figure out which one is better working for us and all that. But dogs are carnivores, so they need to eat meat. They need to eat mostly meat source. Okay, so there's no doubt about it. We can't ask a dog to become a vegetarian. We can't ask a dog to become vegan. Don't even think about it. You know, dogs have naturally, and they are born to eat meat, and that's how their system works. You can't give them any other options. And if your vet is telling you that your dog has to eat kibble or vegetarian or this and that, again, because they have very limited information, they can't give you a lot of information. So they give you what they know. And most vets, when they go to school to become a vet, the 1% of their education is about diet. The rest of it is to how to fix a problem. When you visit a vet, the vet has to give you an answer. You know, they don't know what's going on. Honestly, most of the time when you take your dog, let's say your dog has diarrhea, right? And you take your dog to the vet and you ask, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what he did, what is happening. The vet, because has got paid, they have to give you an answer. Okay, so they will give you an answer. Okay, so it doesn't matter if that answer makes sense to you. It doesn't matter if that answer is logical, if it's correct or not. They have to give you an answer, and when they give you an answer, you are kind of okay. Now I know what's going on. But most of the time, and I'm dealing with a lot of clients, and most of the time my clients tell me that at the end we spent, I don't know, $500, $1,000, $3,000. At the end we didn't know what's going on. They couldn't figure it out. So that's the problem. We can't figure out, the vets can't figure out what is wrong with your dog. And I'll tell you why that happens. But the main reason happens is because vets, most vets, now I'm not saying all of the vets, most vets are traditionally trained and educated to deal with emergency cases, not to deal with cases that it's complicated. We still don't know if you have a dog who has some kind of health issue is happening to them. You have to understand why is that problem is happening, and I'll explain it to you, and I'll tell you why that is happening. But your vet, because needs your money and needs to give you an answer, they will do anything they can to make you come back so they can make more money, and to leave you stranded in that idea that you stay confused. You still don't know what's going on. And that happens in most industries, health and drug, and even human industry as well, not only in dogs. So educate yourself about dogs, and educate yourself about what you need to do about your dog. So one of the main reasons why dogs develop health issues, and maybe your dog is developing health issues, and you have to attend or go and visit your vet too often, number one reason is, this is my number one tip, is because of your dog's diet. Once you improve and change your dog's diet, you will see that most of the issues of your dog's health are going to be solved, not only immediately, but gradually. Also, you will heal your dog's body and heal the problem that they have, and never ever visit the vet. Now you're going to say, but my dog has this kind of a health issue and that kind of a health issue. I want to give you one fact that it will change everything. As I said earlier, if you feed, dogs are bred and designed to feed and are born to eat naturally raw meat, raw food, and species appropriate diet. If you change this food, if you change your dog's food from whatever it is to this kind of natural, species appropriate diet, not only you're going to be healing your dog's body, you're going to save a lot of money, save a lot of visits to the vet. Myself, for instance, my dog Harvey, the beagle, we never visit the vet. He's 8 years old, and knock on wood, we don't ever visit the vet. The only reason we visit the vet is once a year. We visit to check up, to see what's going on with his health. And every year, knock on wood, everything is going well. He's doing well. Health-wise, he's doing well. Okay? And the reason for that is because he's on raw diet, raw natural diet. So that helps him to not only not develop any health issues, it's healing his body to every time there is some kind of problems is occurring or developing in his body, in his health system, the diet is healing it. There are many other things that you have to do in order to help your dog to not to have health issues. One of the main things that you want to focus on is um, to feed a healthy diet. Now, I'm going to continue on this. Let me go to the chat line and see what's going on. Kasi, I think Kasi or Cassie, KACA, is saying, if a dog eats deer meat that has been affected by wasting disease, will it transfer to a dog? Well, it depends. Most of the time, dog's stomach has the ability to digest a lot of, a lot of things, including if a meat has gone bad. But if it has been now, if that meat has gone bad in day or 2 or 3, it still should be okay. But more than 3 days, if it's gone bad, I wouldn't suggest feeding that to your dog. Not only because they can't digest it, you don't want to risk spreading pathogens and bacteria and things like that in your dog's body. Why would you put your dog's body in that stress mode to deal with those? Try to give fresh meat as often as you can. Yes, dogs' stomach is very acidic. pH level is much higher than humans' pH level, so they can tolerate and digest a lot of things. They eat poops, right? Dogs eat poops, so they can deal with that. But sometimes if the pathogens or the microbes or the bacteria are really strong and very fresh, maybe they will go and cause some kind of issue in your dog's body. So I wouldn't suggest to give to such a meat that has gone bad. And Cindy Casey Cyanide, I'm sorry, I'm not able to read this name, but Cyandy KS is saying, in India, vet takes only $1.40 for checkup. Wow, that's a great deal. $1.40? Is that correct? $1.40 for a vet visit? That's like a good deal. I would say, even though it's cheap, but I wouldn't want to go and visit the vet all the time just because it's cheap. Who wants to go see a doctor just because it's free? In Canada, for example, healthcare is free, right? I don't want to go see my doctor all the time. And my doctor doesn't want to see me all the time either, even though it's free. I don't want to go there. It's just not an environment that I want to be. So I wouldn't even go, even if it's cheap, or even if it's affordable. I wouldn't suggest you taking your dog for checkup. But annual checkup, that's a bargain. So I would suggest, yes, go for it. If it's $1.40 per visit, I would suggest go ahead and visit the vet annually just to check up on your dog's health. So as I was saying, this is my number one tip. Okay, number one tip is, if you change your dog's diet to raw diet, which is a natural, species appropriate diet for dogs, you will see that your dog's health is going to get way much better. Your dog's health is your dog's body is going to start healing itself, and you will hardly need to visit the vet. Now, if you have a dog who has diarrhea often, and that, if you look at it also, if your dog is having diarrheas often and your dog has health issues often and you have to visit the vet, you have to understand, why is this happening all the time? Why is my dog having these issues all the time? And the reason I'm guessing, and I would bet on it actually, you're feeding your dog kibble or dry food. Dry food and kibble are not species appropriate diet, and they're not supposed to be given to a dog on regular basis, every day, daily basis. Your dogs shouldn't be eating kibble all the time. Your dog should be eating fresh food all the time, non-processed food, non-GMO. Has to be fresh and made just few days before, not packaged, not processed. So think of it that way. And you have to, if you're giving kibble, that's the main reason what it causes your dog to have health issues all the time. And if your dog is having diarrhea, for example, all the time, that's a signal that that food is causing that to happen. Diarrhea basically is dog's body saying that there's something wrong and I'm going to have to deal with it, and I'm going to get rid of these toxins from the body, so in form of diarrhea. So the toxins are coming out of your dog's body. But if every time your dog is having diarrhea, that means there's always toxins building up and never goes away. So you want to get rid of those toxins, and you don't want your dog's body to build those toxins anymore. So start feeding your dog fresh food, fresh meat, fresh raw diet, species appropriate diet, so your dog's body has the opportunity to heal itself and never ever go through those stressors. C is saying, I've had dogs all my life and my current dogs are beagles too. Until my last 3 dogs, none ever ate dirt. These last 3 dogs all eat dirt. Do you think commercial foods may be missing minerals? Well, that's, oh wow, yeah, they're eating dirt. It is possible that they are missing something from their diet. If you notice that, for example, some dogs, they even eat grass, or as you say, dirt or poop, or anything other than their food, they will eat those stuff. One of the main reasons dogs they do that, is because they're missing a lot of nutrients from their main diet. And most dogs, their main diets are kibble or dry food. And these are signals to you when you see your dog is eating dirt or grass or poop, their own poop or other dogs' poop, or everything that they can come across, or they start being picky about eating their own kibble or dry food, and they want to eat other stuff. These are signals that your dog is saying, you know what, I'm not getting the nutrients that I need from the diet that you're feeding me, the food that you're feeding me, so I have to replace them somehow, from some other things. So they will try all kinds of things. And in general, what you want to focus on is focusing on giving 75%, for example, raw meat and 25% vegetables or greens. And the reason, one of the reasons dogs are lacking those nutrients and they can't digest their food is because we're not giving them enough green leafy vegetables. So 25% you want to focus on giving green leafy vegetables, because vegetables help to digest the meat, and they need the nutrients from the meat to heal and heal the body and build nutrients, vitamins and cells, and repair those cells and all the damages that are happening in their body. So focus on giving those kinds of fresh food, those kinds of foods that heal the body. Kibble and dry food, they don't heal the body, they always damage the body. Francis M is saying, how about $500 a visit? It's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Exactly, $500 a visit. That's, imagine if you're going to visit the vet 2 or 3 times a year, or even 5 times a year. That's $2,500 a year you're spending on vet bills. And Francis M, can you tell me if your dog is on kibble or different diet? And can you just let me know? I'm curious to know what kind of diet is your dog on, and why do you visit the vet? Do you visit the vet all the time or just once a year? So when you're feeding fresh meat, fresh diet, fresh food, non-processed food, raw meat, you're feeding your dog a natural diet that your dog body needs it to repair itself. So when you're giving your dog that fresh food, your dog starts feeling much better. Now, studies have shown that uh, if you if you give your dog healthy food, some of the behavioral issues of your dogs are also going to phase out. So the reason that happens is, for example, myself, I believe in this formula. You have to provide your dogs daily 5 essential needs, which are exercise, training, socialization, care, and also affection. So exercise, training, socialization, care, and then affection. So when it comes to your dog's health, overall health, internal, external, emotional, behavioral health of your dog, it it is not only related to your dog's diet, it's related to many things, which are these 5 things, which you have to provide healthy, good exercise for your dog in order for it to be healthy. Mental and physical exercises. Training is mental mainly, but you can combine some training, some physical activities in there to make it even more interactive and more beneficial for your dog. So exercise, training, socialization is a mental stimulation. It's actually emotional stimulation for dogs. Emotional stimulation makes dogs happy. When dogs who are social animals, you socialize them, you let them be social, their overall health improves as well. Compared to dogs who are not very social, they have behavioral issues. They see another dog and react and become aggressive. That's because they're lacking those social skills. They don't benefit from those emotional benefit. They don't get those emotional benefits from the socialization. So you want to focus on providing also socialization for your dog. So exercise, training, socialization. The next thing is care. Care is one parts of the care is the diet, and which I'm going to come back to it. And the last thing a dog needs is affection. Affection is emotional as well. Dogs are very emotional animals. They're very sensitive animals, and affection is very important to them. And they love to have that affection shared with them. They want affection, and they need it, and you have to provide affection for them. So that's my rule. You have to provide your dog's daily 5 essential needs in order to have a healthy and happy and well-behaved dog. Healthy and happy physically and mentally and emotionally as well, and well-behaved dog. So the care, one part of it is the diet. So if you provide proper diet for your dog is also going to have less stress. When dogs are being fed the food that is not ideal for them, and it's not species appropriate diet for them, which is most dog owners are feeding their dogs kibble or dry food, it stresses their body, physical body, and also it stresses them emotionally because they are stressed. So all this negative energy when you're feeding your kibble, it builds up this all negative energy in their system, which eventually impacts their emotional and behavioral effects, their emotional and behavioral system as well. So therefore, they will be stressed and they will react to it. So most of the time, when we are feeding our dogs non-appropriate diet, basically they will be stressed and they will misbehave. So if you want to help your dog also to get rid of that, some of that behavioral issue that they're having, try to change your dog's diet. So see if it makes a difference. So in my next live video, I'm going to talk about raw diet, what to feed and how to feed, and what are the main benefits of raw diet, how to get started. But in this video, I wanted to give you this tip that number one way of saving money on your vet bills is simply by changing your dog's diet to raw diet or species appropriate diet. By doing this, not only you're going to save money on your vet bills, you're going to help your dog to heal all those negative energy in their body, all those damages in their body, recover, and be healthier and much more well-behaved dog. So by doing this simple change, you will make a big difference. Sandy Jacques, I believe, is asking how to cure dog mange problem and how to prevent it. I am working on a video about this, but mange is something that that you want to prevent it before it happens. Actually, the way you can prevent it is a product. You can use a product which is called Diatomaceous Earth. I'm going to do a video about this. I'm going to go more in details about this. It will be available and published soon. But for now, I will give you this tip. It's a product called Diatomaceous Earth. After the live session, I'm going to try to go and leave a link in the description for you to go and find out more about it. It's something that it has worked for many dogs, and my own dog especially too. So look into that product. It's something that you want to use the food grade and you add it to your dog's diet, and then that will help to get rid of mange. Inspire G Boy 0607 all is asking, what protein would you recommend as species appropriate, especially for golden retriever? And he's saying hi. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So what do you want when it comes to raw diet? Species appropriate. Understand that species appropriate for human is different than animal, the dogs. So for example, I don't know if you know, fish eat other fish, bugs, things like that. Birds eat bugs and things like that. Gorillas and giraffes, they eat leafy greens. Humans eat variety of foods. Dogs eat meat. Now, what kind of meat? Good question. I suggest to feed your dog variety of proteins. Anything that you can afford, anything that you can share with your dog. in this day and age, there are all kinds of wild meat that are available, other than other than chicken and beef and turkey. You can, if you have this available in your locally, if you could get it, it would be better. Pheasant, kangaroos, um, oh, the, the, buffalo. I can't remember what is the actual name. Buffalo. As much as you can, exotic meats too. You can add some fish in there too, not too much, but just some fish. So yeah, variety of proteins. You can feed your dog as many as varieties as you can. One, because it's fun. Two, because it helps them to be familiar with their body gets used to all kinds of proteins, and it starts preventing it to develop, especially food allergy in the dogs. Most dogs who have food allergy is not because they are allergic to that protein. They're allergic mainly to the fat to that protein, first of all, and second of all is because um, your dog is given fat, protein plus carbohydrates. Did you know kibble and dry food, they are full of carbohydrates? You're not supposed to mix carbohydrates with fat, first of all. That's a no-no. It causes a lot of health issues, first of all, to develop. Second of all, it's a processed food as well. Kibble and dry food are processed food. They're full of chemicals, full of things that they're not supposed to be there. The oils and fats have been so heated up that they don't have any nutritional value anymore. So when you combine all these things and you feed it your dog in form of kibble or dry food, they will develop all kinds of health issues, including food allergy. My own dog, Jonah, who passed away a couple of years ago, when he was young, he had food allergy, and he had a major form of food allergies. And we visited vets, and they told us that we have to change his diet to vegetarian. Believe it or not, they told us we have to feed him vegetarian diet, which was crazy. A dog eating vegetable, it just doesn't make sense in a way, right? Think about it. And I didn't want to do that. Again, the vets that I pay for, and I had no choice but listening to them, they had to give me an answer. They had to give me a solution. So they gave me the solution of feeding my dog vegetarian diet. So I started researching, I started educating myself, I started figuring out what do I need to do to help my dog to get over this problem that he's having. It was, he was scratching himself, licking himself, he was going crazy, and he was having hot spots all over the place, he was throwing up, he was having diarrheas, all kinds of problems. So I started doing some research, and I figured out that it's the diet that is causing this to happen, and it was mainly the kibble. So the vet who discovered that my dog had food allergy, its solution was to replace it with another kibble, which was vegetarian kibble, right? So it was like going from one garbage to another garbage. So if I continue feeding my dog garbage, then there's no way that my dog is going to heal, right? So I had to feed him a food that not only was going to heal him, it was going to get rid of all these issues that he was having. So we started feeding him, good clean meat food, and fresh meat and vegetables. And he started healing, and not only he healed, all these problems went away. Not only it healed, he he got rid of all those food allergies that he had. So in beginning, when we discovered that he had food allergy, he was apparently allergic to beef and chicken, I believe. So basically all the good meats he was allergic to. So he started, after healing, after giving him fresh meat and fresh food and species appropriate diet, not only he healed, his allergies went away. He started eating all kinds of proteins, meat, beef, chicken, everything, and no reaction. Just because his body cleaned himself and cleaned it up, got healed, and started eating everything that he wanted. So we started feeding him all kinds of meat. So any protein, to answer your question, actually, you can feed your dog any kind of protein that you want, any kind of protein that you can afford. As long as it's in raw format, it will be fine. If your dog is on kibble or dry food and you start feeding raw meat, even beef, and your vet has told you that your dog is allergic to beef or chicken, I guarantee you, once you start feeding your dog clean raw meat, raw beef, after a while your dog is going to start being okay and is not going to be allergic to that food either. So hopefully that answered your question. Prophet Singh is saying, hey, I do have a beagle and he is vegetarian. I just want to confirm that this dog food is sufficient for my beagle, like Royal Canin, pedigree, etc. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. First of all, a dog shouldn't be vegetarian. Second of all those brands that you just mentioned, those are not good dog food brands. If you want to feed a good kibble or diet, unfortunately I can't recommend any good kibble or dry food, because they're all made the same way. They all are processed food. They all are dead food. When I say dead food, is they're overheated. In order to have a food, I don't have a kibble, but just pretend. Most kibbles are in this shape, right? In order to have a kibble to stay in this shape all the time and be produced all the time, they have to overheat these products that they have. Even if the company is saying, and it's written on their bag, that it's fresh meat, fresh this, fresh that, it was fresh in the beginning, but the end, it's all processed and all overheated, all killed, and it's dead product at the end. So your dog is not getting the benefits from that diet that it needs to. So I would highly suggest you, if you're gonna feed your dog, if you're gonna feed your beagle, try to feed, don't focus on vegetarian. Start feeding proper food. If you want to still feed kibble or dry food, I suggest you to buy the most non-expensive, but the much better kibble as much as you can, and then add some fresh food to it. So at least 25% of your dog's daily diet should have about 20-25% of fresh food. Fresh food, what I mean by that is add some raw meat, some fresh vegetables. Don't cook them. Fresh meat, fresh vegetables. Add some to that kibble as well. And then later on, start transitioning your dog's kibble to raw diet completely. So I hope that makes sense. I just don't support any kibble or dry food company just because from the way they are produced, it just doesn't make sense to be feeding dogs. It's like fast food. You don't eat fast food all the time. You don't eat fast food as your main diet. Fast food is good once in a while, and even though we're saying once in a while is good, once in a while it does harm you. when you eat fast food, the content will harm your body. So your body has to go through that stress of repairing the next day that you don't, so you start not eating fast food. So think about it that way. Your dog doesn't have to have to go through that stress all the time. So I would suggest to try to give as much as fresh food that you can, so it's easier for your dog to digest it and heal and repair. So don't feed vegetarian, Prophet Singh. Don't feed vegetarian formula. Start feeding meat and all that, meats and vegetables, and don't try to feed kibble as much as you can. Inspire G Boy 0607 is saying origin is processed at low temperatures but still can be considered dead nutrition as it is not fresh. Exactly, yes. So origin, I would say, is one of those brands that is considered better quality of all the kibbles. You know, it's still a kibble. Kibble is a kibble. Kibble is a dry food. You know, if you name it Royal Canin or Pedigree or Origin, is the same thing. You know, it's processed the same way. So it just doesn't make sense to give the food that doesn't have any nutritional value. So this is why I don't suggest to feed kibble. If you're going to give kibble, try to add some fresh food to it, and then completely transition to raw diet. Saro, do you consider dehydrated foods like the Honest Kitchen as dead food too? Good question. Dehydrated foods are better than kibble and dry food. So here's how I look at it. Okay, so here we have bad food, and here we have the good food. The bad food here is dry food or kibble, and then we go to dehydrated food, and then we go to cooked food, and then we go to raw food. Okay, so that's the level that you're gonna look. So dehydrated food is better than kibble and dry food, but still it's not fresh. Dehydrated food, the problem is, the main problem with dehydrated and kibble, one of the main problems with dehydrated and kibble is that basically dehydrated. So dehydration, they remove all the moisture from the food. And dogs, tell me if I'm wrong, your dog, if it's on kibble or dry food, is drinking water like hell. They can never stop drinking water. They can drink water all day long. That's because the food is dehydrated, or is dry food or kibble. So all the moisture is out of it. So dogs highly need a moisture food. And when the moisture is removed from the food, they go through dehydration state 24/7. So imagine what happens when you're dehydrated 24/7. So dehydrated food, the only reason that is better than kibble is because you have to add some water and let it sit for a few minutes to become alive, and then feed the dog. Because you're adding a little bit of water, it's still better than dry food. Even on dry food, I noticed that most dog owners, they will add some water to dry food to make it wet. So if you have to go through all this, if you have to add water to your dog's food, then what's the point? You know, the idea here is to give fresh, hydrated food to your dog, not dehydrated or dry food. To keep your dog in dehydrated mode 24/7 causes kidney issues to develop, a lot of health issues develop, and then you end up at the vet every few months. That's one of the reasons. There you go. One of the reasons you're visiting the vet too often, and you're spending $500 a visit. Was it 500? Yeah, $500 a visit. is because your dog is not eating the right food, and it will cause damage to their system, to their internal system, and they will end up being not healthy all the time. 24/7 they will be unhealthy. So you want to consider all this when I talk about, feeding your dog proper species appropriate diet. Sandy Jo is saying, my 7 months old German Shepherd won't eat raw meat. Any suggestion? Yes. So I had my previous beagle, my older beagle who passed away a couple of years ago, Jonah. He was like that. He wouldn't eat raw diet. He was very picky. He wouldn't eat it, and that's fine. What you can do, you can slightly cook that meat. Slightly. You don't want to overcook that meat. You want to slightly cook that meat just to get that, just to make it enticing for your dog to eat. If you start, like for example, what I would suggest is get the meat, put it on the pan, and cook it, let's say, for 3 minutes. Okay? Just giving a rough example, 3 minutes. For next week, you're going to cook it for 3 minutes, and then you feed your dog. The week after, you're going to cook it for 2 minutes, and then you're going to feed your dog. The week after, you're going to start cooking for a minute and feed your dog. And then 4th week, see if your dog is going to eventually eat that meat raw. Because you're gradually reducing from cooked form to raw form, it will help your dog to transition. It may take a week or 3 or 4 or a month or so from transitioning from cooked to raw, but that's a good approach that you can take. So what I mean basically is start feeding fresh meat first of all. But if your dog is not, so one that I would suggest, just slightly cook, and maybe cook it 50%, and then next week 40%, 30%, and gradually to raw state. That will help. The other thing is that you can do is try different proteins. Different proteins have different flavors, different ways to entice your dog to eat. So try different proteins. Maybe if your dog doesn't like beef, for example, try chicken maybe buffalo. It will be a good raw diet to start. So maybe get some different raw meats from various proteins and try to see which one your shepherd is going to go for it. Usually most dogs, if they are hungry, they will eat. If they feel hungry, they will feel that they want to eat. The reason most dogs they don't want to eat is because they're not hungry. Basically, if a dog is hungry, they will eat anything you put it in front of it. If your dog you put good food in front of your dog and your dog doesn't eat, it's a sign. There are a few things actually, let me share with you. It's a sign when that happens. One, it could be that your dog wants to fast. There's something wrong in their system and they want to fast. And fasting helps their system to heal and repair. So it could be that they're fasting and you offer them food at the wrong time, wrong day. There are days my dog, for example, he won't eat. I'm feeding the same food as always, but he decides not to eat. He will stretch it out. He will have maybe a 24 hours, up to 24 hours fast, actually. He won't eat. He won't come ask for food either. We are thinking, should we feed? And he doesn't show any interest. So we know that he's fasting. So it could be that your dog is actually fasting. It could be also that your dog is not hungry, right? Literally, they're not hungry. That's why they don't eat. So you may want to give your dog the opportunity to fast for, I would say, 24 hours, even 48 hours, or even 3 days. You can fast your dog. It's fine. They're not going to die. Nothing bad is going to happen. Animals and dogs, they do that. They do fast for days. Unlike humans that we have to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, 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 breakfast, lunch, dinner. We have to eat all the time. Dogs and animals, they don't need to eat all the time. They eat whenever they feel hungry. And most dogs, including shepherds, I know shepherds, they're very sensitive animals, sensitive dogs in general, mentally and emotionally and physically. They're very sensitive animals. So when it comes to food, they're not very foodie as well. So they don't feel like eating all the time. So I would say, yes, consider that the fact that either they're fasting or they're not seriously not hungry. And the number three reason could be that your dog is spoiled. Your shepherd is spoiled, and your dog says, you know what, I can do this and nothing is going to happen. My mom is going to give me the food in a few hours. I'll eat it later whenever I feel like it. I'll eat whenever. When you have that mentality, when your dog has that mentality, what I suggest you to do is start feeding on regular basis rather than free feeding. Feed at, let's say, 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening. uh, Offer the food at 7 in the morning, and if your dog eats it, fine. If it doesn't eat within 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, uh, make it 8 minutes. Why not 10? Why 10 minutes? Make it 8 minutes. 5 to 8 minutes, it doesn't eat, remove the food, offer it at 7 p.m., see how it goes. If they don't eat at 7 p.m., then they want to fast for a day or two, offer it the next day. If they don't eat it, fasting, they don't want to eat, up to 3 days you can play this game or literally allow your dog to fast. So Sandy Zhao, try these options. I know the feeling. We feel bad when our dogs don't eat, and we feel, oh, they're starving, they're not feeling bad, they're not feeling good, there's something wrong with them. I know the feeling. Don't feel bad. Just go through this process. It will be fine. So there are some tips that you can actually use. So yes, hopefully that answers your question. So in general, what you want to do is focus on giving your dog healthy diet, and that's my number one tip to help you to save on vet bills. I get this question all the time, and I was getting this question all the time. That's why I wanted to come live and answer and talk about it, because many of my clients and viewers are asking me, how do I save money on vet bills? And there's your answer. Just change your dog's diet to fresh, species appropriate diet, and it will be, everything is going to be taken care of. Your dog is not going to have health issues, therefore you're not going to visit the vet often. You're just going to visit your dog's vet once a year just to do a checkup. I hope you like this live video. If you have any questions, leave those questions in the comments area. In the next live video, I'm going to talk more about raw diet and how to get started and all that. And if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Please share this video with all other dog lovers so they can save money on their vet bills. If you know anybody, and if you have friends and family members who have dogs and they're going to benefit from my channel, let them know and let them to come and subscribe to my channel. And let's continue this journey all together and join the community. I really appreciate your views and your time that you're taking to watch my videos and get involved with my community. And also in the next one of my next videos, I'm going to answer some questions that I've received from you, and I'm going to answer them live on the next live video. Thank you very much. Until next time, have fun with your dog.